So guys, just the other day I was doing an oil change on my 2013 Crosstrek Limited, and I've been thinking for quite a while now about purchasing a 22 or 23 Crosstrek, just because I'm kind of in the mood for something new, something different. I've got that little itch again wanting to buy a new car, although most of us already know it's a foolish investment to buy a new car. Buying a new car is never a good idea. A certified pre-owned in any other climate would be far superior to buying a new car, but right now, with car prices the way they are, it's an upside down, insane clown world. Because just the other day I was at the Subaru dealership and I was looking at two identical cool khaki Crosstrek Sports, a brand new, unsold 2023. Still plastic on everything, just came off the transport truck, hasn't even been PDI'd yet. Had a sale price window sticker of $32,500 ballpark, if I recall correctly. Now, this same dealership had a 2021 certified pre-owned cool khaki Crosstrek Sport. Basically the exact same car, same options, everything, except it was a 21 model and had 25,000 miles on it, and they were asking $34,000. They wanted more money for a 2-year older, 25,000 mile certified pre-owned than a brand spanking new 23 fresh off of the hauler. It's insane right now what car dealers are doing with the prices of new cars and used cars. And, it's going to very, very quickly change. It's already changing already. All these car dealers put too much money in their used, and they are getting upside down severely on their used inventory. Their new inventory is finally starting to catch up to demand. But anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about today. We're here to talk about a new Crosstrek, possibly for me. So jumping onto Subaru's website, as we see here, we're going to go really quickly into a build and price, and we're going to do that on a 23 Crosstrek. Now, we're going to build what I would purchase or what I'm interested in, and that is a Crosstrek Sport. I like the front bumper, the front end. I like the wheels on the Sport model. I also like the way the interior is on the car. Plus, you can get that 2.5 liter under the hood rather than the 2 liter. A lot of people complain about the 2 liter being underpowered, that the 2.5 is a much better suited engine for the Crosstrek. They would prefer, to see that turbocharged option, but we will not get a turbocharged option Crosstrek. So at this point, the 2.5 is probably the most potent petrol-powered horsepower you will see in the Crosstrek before it goes full hybrid or to EV or just gets knocked off the map. So let's go ahead really quickly and build and price this Crosstrek Sport. So moving on, the color I will go for is cool khaki. My current 2011 is ice silver metallic, and I absolutely hate it. Silver, in my opinion, is never a good color on a car. It's just so bland. It doesn't stick out. It doesn't, I don't know. I'd rather have a white car than the ice silver. It's just something about that silver. I mean, silver is easy to maintain and doesn't look dirty, but I don't know. If I'm buying new, I'm picking what I want, and I want the cool khaki. I've really, really grown to love that color. Now, with the Sport, we have no interior option. You just get that that gray two-tone StarTex interior with the leather, with the yellow stitching. It's okay. I mean, I'm not too much of a fan of that stitching, but it's what you get with the Sport package. It's your only option. So let's go to the packages right now. Now, normally I do not like a sunroof just because I never open them, and they are another place for water to leak inside of the car. But the things that you can get with the package that are mandated with the sunroof, I want. So I'm gonna have to take that sunroof with the package. Now we're going to go on to our accessories. We're going to go to all. We're going to pick everything, and then we're just going to go through and pick what I want. Ashtrays are of no concern. The auto dimming compass rearview mirror, we're going to go put that on there. Cargo cover, absolutely going to get, but it is included. The cargo net, I have that in my 2013, and I utilize it, so we're going to go ahead and add that. the cargo tray. I believe this is the all-weather protector. Now that comes with the sport model. Cigarette lighter I do not need. Might as well put the moon roof deflector on there. I have one on my 2013. All-weather floor mats. I thought the sport model came with them, but I guess it's an optional $132. Approach lights, let's go ahead and add those. Skimming through. Rear bumper protector, we'll go ahead and add that. Seat back protector, we'll go ahead and add that. The window deflectors, we'll add those in as well. Our splash guards. And let's just go through and see what else we want to put on here. LED light upgrade, why not? This is a new car. Let's just go ahead and get everything we want. No reason not to if you're buying a new car. Because what's the point of buying new if you don't get what you want, you know? So let's see with STI. We don't need an STI spoiler or any of that stuff. Aero crossbars, we need those because I have a bike rack and I also have a kayak, so we're going to need that. We're not going to get any of these optional accessories here for bike racks and roof racks and all that because I already have what I need there. Trailer hitch, do we want a towing package? I have the towing package on my 2013, but I have yet to ever tow with my Crosstrek. So I think we're going to go ahead and skip the towing package this time around. I mean, we can always add it on later. We got some pet accessories here. Moving on through, and we are done. Let's go to our summary. So our total build on a 23 Crosstrek Sport, the way I would build it, is $32,791. So looking at Subaru's website and looking at the Crosstrek, I happened upon the Crosstrek Hybrid. So the new hybrid Crosstrek is a plug-in hybrid. That means that you can plug it in and charge it as it has an onboard battery pack rather than a traditional hybrid that uses a battery pack and the electric motor assist and the gasoline engine. This one has a battery pack that allows you to charge it overnight or for X amount of hours. I believe on a 120 charger, level 1 charger, it's a 5-hour charge time, and a 220 volt level 2 charger is about a 2-hour charge time. And that equates out to 17 miles of pure electric driving before your gasoline engine takes over, and then it acts as a normal hybrid with your regenerative braking and your electric assist at slow speed. So that is a difference now between the older hybrid Crosstrek that was not a plug-in hybrid. So there's a lot of different things here, and we have a bigger price tag starting at $36,845 for the hybrid. So it occurred to me that it might be interesting for you guys if we go through and we build, let's build out a base model, the cheapest Crosstrek. Let's build out, which we already did, a sport model or a limited, which are pretty close on price and what I would want. And we'll go out and we will build out a hybrid model, exactly the way I would order it if I was ordering one. And let's take those final numbers, see what our costs are for these three cars, and see what our ownership over the average ownership of a vehicle, which in the US is 8.4 years, and over the average mileage driven, which is 14,263 miles a year on average. You go ahead and add that up, and that comes out to 119,809.2 miles for the average ownership of a new vehicle in the US. So let's see what our cost of ownership would be and our cost differences between buying a hybrid and a base model, a gasoline-only vehicle, and how much money we're going to spend in fuel between the hybrid and, let's say, a lowly base model, and see if it's actually worth it to invest that money in the hybrid over the average ownership and see if we actually come out to the better in the amount of money we save on fuel on the hybrid. So let's go ahead really quickly and build out this hybrid to the specification I would like. We're going to go ahead again with that cool gray khaki, and if we get cool gray khaki, we've got to get a $2,500 package with the sunroof, etc. So let's go ahead and add that. They're asking us again to add that package. We've already added it. Let's go through our accessories again really quickly, guys, and pick out what we are going to add. We're going to add basically all the same options that we added to the Sport model to be on the level of fairness, or as close to fairness as we can get with this, because we are building different vehicles. I mean, it's the same base car, but you know, there is a greater cost in the hybrid to start with. So let's go ahead and pick through, try to remember exactly what accessories I picked out on our Sport model. Now with the hybrid model right off the boat, you do not get regular crossbars and a roof rack the same way as you do with any other model of Crosstrek. So it's going to be a $721 premium just to add crossbars so I can mount my bike mount and my kayak mount and all that stuff on the roof. Let's see, what else? I think that's basically got us. We got the pet stuff here at the bottom. Let's go to the summary. And our hybrid version of the same Crosstrek, basically, option-wise, is going to cost us $43,010 compared to our Sport. Now, let's go ahead and we'll build one more. Let's start with a base model, and let's see if we can build one on the cheaper side. Let's go ahead and get that zero additional cost 6-speed manual. We'll shift our own gears. We'll go ahead and add our cool khaki that we love. There's no packages available because it's a base model. So we'll go through and add our optional accessories. Once again, checking off all the ones we wanted. Wow, even the cargo cover is a add-on for the base model. It's not included. That's quite surprising. Subaru. So cargo tray, all-weather floor mats, LED dimming lights. Approach lights was pretty hilarious on a base model cloth car. Let's add some fog lights, why not? Bumper protector, seat back protector. Let's get all the goodies that all the other ones are getting, just so we basically got the same money in accessories. Leather shift knob, might as well. LED light upgrade. Let's keep on scrolling. I think we basically covered it. And pet-friendly stuff, I think we're there. So our base model is $27,558. Our Sport model is $32,791. And our hybrid is a staggering $43,010. That is a high dollar compact SUV from Subaru. So let's do our figuring now on the price differences between these and what kind of fuel, how much money in fuel we're going to spend between our lowly little $27,000 base model and our top tier $43,000 hybrid. Are we going to save enough gas to justify buying this hybrid over our gas-guzzling, petrol-powered base model? Let's do some math real quick and see what that works out to. So guys, a little quick math for you off camera. Well, we're not on camera technically anyway. We're just screen recording Subaru's website. But price difference really quickly between buying the hybrid and buying the base model. You're looking at a cost difference of $15,452. Now the price difference between the base or the Sport model and the hybrid comes to $10,219. So that is quite a bit more money for that hybrid model. It better save us a lot of money in fuel consumption, right? So when we look over at the specifications for the trims and models shown, we've got an MPG rating of 33 highway, 28 city on the Crosstrek base. On our Sport, we have an MPG rating of 34 highway and 27 city. And on the hybrid, we have a 90 MPG E rating. That is a combination of the 17 miles of pure electric driving and the 400 and some odd mile capacity of driving on a 13.2 gallon fuel tank, which roughly works out to 35 miles to the gallon highway and 27 city when not using any of the electric battery power or the hybrid assist. So, looking down further, comparing these, our base model is going to come with the 2-liter. Our Sport will have a 2.5, and we will have another 2-liter engine with a hybrid. Looking down through at our horsepower numbers, now on that 2.5-liter coming in the Sport, we'll have 182 horsepower, 176 foot-pounds of torque. That is the most power you can get in this generation of Crosstrek. Moving down from there, our base model will come in at a 152 horsepower, 145 foot-pounds of torque from its 2-liter engine. The hybrid is the weakest power-wise from the gasoline side of the equation, with a 137 horsepower and 134 foot-pound of torque rating from the same 2-liter engine. Now, as far as towing capacity goes, for those of you that might be picking up to tow, the hybrid has a lesser towing capacity at only 1,000 pounds, whereas the other models can pull 1,500 pounds. And that has a lot to do with the curb weight of these vehicles, as that hybrid system makes the hybrid Crosstrek a chunky monkey. It is a lot heavier. So a base Crosstrek with the manual transmission comes in at 3,117 pounds. The Sport model with the CVT will be 3,265 pounds. And the weight on the hybrid, as I said before, it is a big old chunky monkey, 3,717 pounds. There is where your towing capacity drop of 500 pounds went in that big old 3,717 pound hybrid. That is a big boy there. That battery pack and all that extra technology for the hybrid system having quite a bit of gravity to it. So, moving on from there, also looking at specifications, our ground clearance is the same on either one. Subaru says that you can offer the hybrid just the same as any other Subaru in the model range or Crosstrek in the model range. Looking at the tire and wheel combo, you do have a special low rolling resistance all-season tire that comes on the hybrid, and that is the only thing you can get on the hybrid from the factory. You can get all-season tires or what have you, just regular all-season tires on the base model or the Sport. You got to think about the cost of repairing and replacing those low rolling resistance all-weather tires, because they are more expensive than a regular tire. More into specifications, when we have a look at our gas tank size, the hybrid also has a smaller fuel tank because of the hybrid system and that big old battery pack. You only get a 13.2 gallon tank on the hybrid model, where the other Crosstrek models come with a 16.6 gallon tank. Talking about that big old honking battery pack in the back of the hybrid Crosstrek, you also lose cubic feet of cargo volume in the back, because that's where your battery pack is in the hybrid. On the base model and the Sport model, you have a 20.8 cubic foot volume for your cargo area, but with that big old battery pack in the hybrid, you lose space and you only have 15.9 cubic feet. So you got to think about that as well. So we've seen some differences in between these models. Now, again, we know that the hybrid is far more expensive than the other two, but it's, sold on the premise of saving fuel and saving money by not having to pay so much out at the pump. So what are we looking at on the fuel numbers? So again, we're working off of the calculation of these cars will be owned for the average ownership of 8.4 miles, which is national average for the United States. We're going to be driving these cars 14,263 miles a year, which is the average mileage driven in the United States for a vehicle owner, and that math equates out to 119,809.2 miles for the ownership over that time period. Now, during that time period, we're going to calculate off of a $4 per gallon cost of gasoline in our calculations, And there are a lot of variables here that we cannot cover, so we're going to make this as rudimentary as possible. We're going to go off of highway MPGs here. We're also going to state that you're driving every single day, 365, so that equates out to 39.07 miles per day. So looking at that number, looking at $4 a gallon gas and their highway MPG ratings, the Crosstrek base model will be consuming, for that lifetime ownership, about 3,630.6 gallons of gasoline. The Sport model will be consuming 3,523.8 gallons of gasoline, and the hybrid will have two different numbers. One will be just upon the gasoline engine's rating, and one will be factoring in that 17 miles of pure EV driving. So 3,423.1 gallons of gasoline used if we didn't use the hybrid system and didn't use that battery pack. But since we're using that battery pack and we get 17 miles of pure electric driving per day, this is how we're going to figure this. We're driving 39.07 miles per day. We are plugging up the car every night. Every morning it's fully charged and we get our full 17 miles of electric driving. And then we come back and park it for the night and plug it back in. That gives us 22.07 miles of gasoline-powered miles a day. Now, when we put that number into our calculation, that comes out to 8,055.6 miles driven per year rather than 14,263, because those are the miles on gasoline. And with that calculation over the 8.4 years, that comes to 67,666.6 miles instead of 119,809.2 miles. So when we take that number and divide it, we're only going to use 1,933.3 gallons of gasoline. So that is the number we're going to work off of. The most ideal situation here, getting our full electric miles and evenly breaking down our mileage and only driving highway mileage. There's so many variables here we couldn't calculate for, so we're doing this as rudimentary as possible for you guys. So looking at the final numbers here. Again, between the base model and the hybrid model, our initial cost difference is going to be a $15,452 premium over the base for the hybrid. Now, over that 8.4 years of fuel burning between the two, the cost savings between buying a hybrid and buying the base model for fuel is $6,789.20. Now, when you subtract that from the $15,000 some odd premium for buying that hybrid, you are still in the hole, $8,662.80 at the end of your 8.4 years. So you are losing $8,662.80 on buying that hybrid over a pure gasoline-powered base model Crosstrek. Now let's say, all right, you don't want a manual, you want a CVT, you want nicer interior, you want the touchscreen, you want all the goodies, so you're going to buy a Sport or a limited model. So the difference between the Sport and the hybrid, that was initially $10,219 for the premium up to the hybrid to be, good on the environment and save yourself some gasoline. Factoring in the fuel savings between the hybrid and that Sport model with the bigger 2.5 liter engine, you're looking at $6,362 even. Now you subtract that from the original $10,000 plus premium you paid for that hybrid, and you are still out $3,857 on buying that hybrid. So whether you buy a space model, a Sport model, what have you, pure gasoline powered vehicle, compared to the hybrid, you were losing money if you were the average American, driving the average amount of mileage and owning the car for the average amount of ownership. So where does this car remotely make sense? The only place that this Crosstrek hybrid makes sense is for someone that lives in the city, someone that does less than 20 miles of driving a day or so, staying well within the majority of their driving in pure EV. You're also having to factor in the fact that you have to pay for that electricity you charge that battery with, the time it takes to charge it. There's just a lot of variables there. So it's very hard to say that the hybrid is right for a large amount of people. It is going to be a very small sector of buyers looking at Subarus that would actually benefit from buying the Subaru Crosstrek plug-in hybrid. Now, like we said before, the hybrid does have a lot of detrimental things other than the exorbitant cost over the other gasoline-only powered vehicles. Now, when we talk about the hybrid, we look at things like the longevity of the vehicle, upkeep, maintenance, and repairs of the vehicle. This system is far more complex than a traditional gasoline-powered only vehicle, and you're going to have to worry about more things that could go wrong, and when they go wrong, they're going to be more expensive to fix than a base or lesser gasoline-only powered vehicle. You've got to worry about this big old battery pack back here that takes up your cargo room and has a lifespan. These batteries are not going to run forever. You have to worry about these hybrid battery cells failing. They sometimes fail prematurely, but on average you get 8 to 10 years of life out of these batteries, which equates out to roughly 80 to 100,000 miles on average. I know we averaged out 120,000 basic miles for 8.4 years, but based on some other national statistics for hybrids, you can expect 80 to 100,000 miles, 8 to 10 years on your big hybrid battery cell back here in the back. Now, there are other things to consider. Like I said, you got to worry about the battery pack in the back. When we look through down here to our gallery looking at the Crosstrek, one thing I forgot to mention is you have only one option of interior, and it's this white and blue two-tone. It's not the greatest in my opinion, but beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So if you're looking for a hybrid, maybe you will spring and enjoy the white and blue. But here's that big battery pack. Look at this. We were talking about the fact that you lose volumes of cargo capacity with the hybrid. You have this big honking battery right here that encroaches on your cargo space. So you have to be thinking about that if you want to use this hybrid Crosstrek as a traditional Crosstrek, or if you were a previous Crosstrek buyer, you're going to have to make some adjustments. You also got to consider these high dollar, low rolling resistance tires. You got to think about charging stations. You got to think about if you want to put a charger at your house, if you want to charge 120 or 240, having your power plug with you. The fact that you don't get traditional integrated roof rails, that you have to get exterior roof rails to add to put your bike racks or kayak racks if you're an outdoors person, which most Subaru people are outdoorsy and they do mountain bike and they kayak and they do all these activities, and a roof rack and crossbars are important to you. So you got to think about that when you spring for the hybrid model. That's an extra cost there for something that the gasoline Crosstreks come with. So let's look at some frequently asked questions here on Subaru's website as it is. So one of them asked, how long is the battery designed to last? The battery is designed to last the life of the vehicle. So are Subaru telling us that the life of a brand new 2023 Crosstrek hybrid is 8 to 10 years or 80 to 100,000 miles? When people talk about lifetime services or lifetime parts in vehicles, they're not talking about the entire life that you can keep it going for. It's their effective lifetime. When we talked about the CVT fluid in other videos about how it's a lifetime fluid, Subaru expects the lifetime of the vehicle to be about 100,000 miles, it seems. So you got to think about that. If you're planning on buying one of these and keeping it for longer than 8 or 10 years, you got to be worried about changing out that big battery pack. Can you take it off-road? Of course, it's the same basic running gear underneath, so it should be as capable as any other, but you do got to think about that extra weight in the Crosstrek hybrid compared to the gasoline-powered ones. And also, you got to think about that lower horsepower rating. Sometimes you need a little bit more pep to get up some of those inclines. So another thing to consider. It talks about the chargers. You cannot use a DC charger or a Tesla supercharger. You can use a level 1 or level 2, 120 or 240 volt charger. You do get a charger with the vehicle, but it's only a level 1 standard 120 volt that will take roughly 5 hours to charge. And do I need to put gas in the tank? Yes. Some of these questions are pretty hilarious here on Subaru's website for the hybrid. But yeah, there is our look at the new Crosstreks. and the difference comparing and contrasting a hybrid model versus a traditional gasoline powered model, and where it's really not a good idea to buy the hybrid unless you were a very specific buyer. So guys, there you go. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you all in the next one.